Siamai, hui Jessica Towns Camera up to Hutna Police Hi, my name is Jessica Towns Camera. My family is from, my native name is Police and my family is from Ugashik. And I am a member of the native village of Pilot Point. So this is brand new, a tutorial from Bougie Alutiiq. So I received a grant from the Evergreen State College. It's the Creative Native Grant, and I was able to travel to the Phoebe Hearst Museum in Berkeley, California, where I was able to see this amazing, wonderful necklace. And the first time that I saw it, I thought, that has to become a tutorial. I went to see so many of these Sugpiaq necklaces out there in the world. So that's what we've done. We created a tutorial and I debuted that tutorial with Pacific Northwest Alutiiq Culture Camp. And I work there as well. Um, and I'm excited to present this, to you all so that you guys can make some of these necklaces as well. So the necklace is from the Kenai Peninsula. It was collected by William Fisher in 1898. He was a collector for the Smithsonian and he collected a lot of things and documented everything really well. The says the description is bead necklace worn by women, 2 strands of red, white, blue, amber, and clear glass beads. It was the donor was the Alaska Commercial Company. So this ended up going to the Alaska Commercial Company and then later was donated by the Alaska Commercial Company to the Phoebe Hearst Museum. Style that is in that necklace where it kind of is belted in and then it comes out and then is belted in again is something that's a theme in Alutiiq jewelry. So most of that Alutiiq jewelry that we know of was collected by William Fisher and was collected in Ugashik. So a lot of the things that you'll see that are Sugpiaq were collected in Ugashik. And here is an example of some earrings, and you can see that they are pulled in together at the top by some beads, and then they come out and they come back together with some beads on the bottom. And a lot of the things that you see here are things that are themed throughout this jewelry. And who knows if maybe it was one maker out of Ugashik and this was kind of their personal style. We don't know any of that information. Here's another pair also from Ugashik. So this was, again, it has that coming in, it's all together at the top, then it comes out in 2 strands and comes back together at the bottom. And so you can see that this one has 2 dangles. The first pair had 3 dangles per earring side. Then there's this bracelet. It's at the Kunstkamera, which is in Russia. I think that's in St. Petersburg. There's a wonderful book called, I think, Sugpiaq Alutiiq. And it one of the editors was Sven Haakonsen, whom you all probably know of. He is now at the Burke Museum. This necklace is featured in there kind of towards the end of the book, or it's a bracelet rather. And so it's the same as the necklace. It comes together and comes apart. It's the same exact idea. And then this one just has little edging. So instead of being 2 strands, it has 4 strands. And it's really great. We're also developing a tutorial for that as well. So when I first posted my recreation of the original necklace on Bougie Alutiiq, a lot of Yupik ladies commented and said, hey, we have that style as well. So I went and I looked for some examples of ancestral pieces from Yupik folk, and here is what I found, one of them, and you can see it has that same coming out and kind of being pinched back in and out and in, right? So that goes through those belt beads. And same thing here, Togiak example, and same thing here. So another Yupik example. This one's really interesting. It was purchased from Mrs. Nikolai, and then it was bought by Mrs. Nunnally's great grandmother who lived on Kodiak. And so this would have been about the same time period as all of this other jewelry. Here's another dangle from the same place, same idea. And this one's a little bit further, so St. Lawrence Island. And this one's just gorgeous. I love the colors. I love the beads. I love everything about this necklace is so great. And the button, absolutely wonderful. So there's a lot of different examples of that. So in the kit, there are 10 10 white tile beads, they're about 6 mm, 20 Russian cut beads, they're about 6 by 7 mm, 20 blue beads that are 60, 40, something like that. Or you can use the about 6 mm, 60, those red, white hearts is what we have in this kit. And then there's 36 clear 8 mm beads and 80, I use Preciosa beads for this, but you can use whatever you want, but you want them to be about 6 mm in length. So 6 mm in length, you need 80 of color A and 64 of color B. So you're going to split the sinew. Sinew generally comes in 3-ply or 5-ply, and you're going to want to split it however it wants to split. And then you'll take 2 of those strands that you've split off and you'll tie them together. So that's what this is. We're just splitting it and then we're going to tie it together. So it's a knot at the top. So you're taking the 2 ends, lining them up, and then creating a knot, and you want a little bit of a tail. There you go. And then we thread our needles. So we're only threading one of those legs. So one of those long legs that we have, we're going to thread onto our needle. The other leg is just not going to do anything at the moment. It's just off to the side. So we're going to put our belt beads on first. I pointed out what that is. So it's I'm using a red heart, then a Russian cut, a tile bead, and a Russian, and then a white heart. And then you'll see here, it's just on one strand, and that other leg, the other strand, is just off to the side. We're not using it at all right now. And the beads just went up to that knot. Now we're going to put on a Preciosa section. You don't have to use Preciosa beads. Use whatever you have or whatever you want to use. This is your necklace. You can do as you would like. I just love it when you can see it ties back to cultural pieces, ancestral pieces, because that helps our future generations come backwards into what our ancestors were doing. So it creates that continuity. So there's the first section. Now we're going to put on some belt beads again. And this is a time lapse, so it's going pretty fast. So we're doing belt, and then we're doing a green section, and a belt section, and a blue section. And you go all the way until you run out of tile beads. There's 10 tile beads, so there's 10 belt sections. Once you have 10 belt sections, you're done with side one. Kind of fun to watch this go by so fast. Ah, satisfying. So now we're going to take the needle off of side one, leg one, and we're going to put it onto side two. And I kind of flatten out the thread before I try to, that's what I'm doing here, is flattening it so that it'll go through the needle because it's kind of thick thread. And then you're going through that top section first. So we're going through the belt beads, the middle section, and now we're going to put on the blue Preciosa section. So 4 blue, 2 8mm clear, 4 blue. And these can be whatever color you want. You could make all the sections have the same color. It's whatever you feel like. And so now you're going to go through that section, the belt bead section. And my needle's not long enough, so I'm using a little embroidery needle because that has kind of a bigger eye. I think it's a size 26 embroidery needle. If you wanted that specifically, I think I got them off of Amazon. And then you're going to keep going. And so you can see that here. We're going to time lapse this nice and quick. But this shouldn't take you too long. Like, you know, if you're an experienced beater, this will be like 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's really not a long project. And if you are just starting out, it might take you a little longer, maybe an hour, a little over an hour, especially if you mess up your pattern or something and you have to take beads off and go back. So now we're putting it through that last belt bead section. And in this last section, they put on one more preciosa. That's just how the original was. It had one more of the beads from the middle section. So you can see that here. And then I'm going to tie it off and knot it off. So first is a knot, and then is a tie. And then I'm going to knot those together. So here we go. Oh, I was taking off the needle first. So I kind of hold this and I'm going to pull it all the way down by the beads so that the knot is right there at the beads, keeping them all together. Now, in the original necklace, they just let these be loose. And so the way that I'm teaching you is to leave these loose, but you could take your needle and thread each of these tails on and then slide it down into the beads if you wanted to. So I just did 3 ties. So overhand knots, like you're tying your shoelaces or something. And that's how I finished it. And then you just cut off and that's it. It's a complete necklace. And these can look so beautiful, you know, just choose the beads that you love. And you'll end up with something that can hopefully give you lots of pride in being Sugpiaq, and you can wear that and show your Sugpiaq pride. So anyway, that is that. So here's some references: is the Phoebe Hearst Museum, the Smithsonian, and the Anchorage Museum. But Koyana, thank you. I hope you guys make lots of necklaces. I'd love to see them. So tag Bougie Alutiiq so that we can see what you all make. Koyana.